There's a thing that happens with journalists when you get assigned a gig like this. They send you a screener to have you watch it in advance. And there are many times that I choose to watch the film with the audience. And I've never come on stage holding a handkerchief before. Or probably looking like I sobbed throughout the whole film, which I did. I lost my dad about 1.5 years ago, and this is his shirt. And, you know, I think those at WBUR know a few things about me. They know I love poetry, and they know I've been navigating grief. And I think that's why they asked me to do this. Would you tell me a bit about the origins of this gorgeous film?
Well, first of all, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for having this conversation with us. And I will say, I've seen this film probably thousands of times, and I still stand in the back with an audience weeping while I watch it, and it changes every time I watch this film. But the origin story is our producers, Steph Willen and Tig Notaro, the comedian, who I'm sure many of you know. I've known Tig for a very long time. We go way back, and Tig's a huge documentary fan. We've always been saying to Tig, like, why can't documentaries be funnier? Where are the comedy docs? Bring us an idea. And so a couple of years ago, Tig brought us an idea that was about their friend, Andrea Gibson, who they've known for decades. And our immediate reaction, when I say our, I mean me and my producing partner, Jess Hargrave, was like, oh my God, Tig misunderstood the assignment. This does not sound funny at all. Poetry and ovarian cancer. And Tig said, like, just hear me out. Andrea is one of the funniest people I've known my entire life. The way that they are, you know, Tig has her own cancer journey. The way that Andrea is confronting mortality and potential end of life is unlike anything I've ever seen. So just watch a few performances. And so Jess and I watched a few poems just on YouTube that Tig sent us, and we were just blown away. We called Tig back and we said, will they meet us? And a week later, Jess and I were on a flight to meet Andrea and Megan. We had never spoken with them. We showed up in their driveway. They came out. Meg came first, gave us a hug. Andrea came out second, also gave us a hug and said, I guess you're gonna be with me when I die. Welcome to my home. And that was the beginning of this film. And so I'm hoping, if the technology allows right now, that we could invite...
We have a surprise for you.
...a couple extra guests.
Hello, Boston. Oh, we wish we were there. We wish we were there with you. Hi, everyone. I've been stand up so many times.
Hello.
Hi. How are you both doing?
Hi. I'm going to do a lot of the talking because Andrea's been dealing with a bit of a chronic cough situation.
And I'll probably interrupt her each time she talks and talk anyway.
You have a hard time just being the pretty face.
I do. Hi, everyone.
There are so many people in this room honestly sobbing together and laughing as you try to put your mailbox back on that wooden pole. What happened? My first question out the jump. Did you fix the mailbox?
Well, you know, that depends on your definition of fixed. It right now is a filing cabinet belted to a pole cemented into the earth. But the mail person does deliver mail to that monstrosity, so.
But since the film came out, or a couple of people have offered to come and build us a mailbox, and we think we're going to take them up on it. We're pretty desperate for a mailbox at this point.
I'm wondering what it was like watching this film, because I read in a piece that it wasn't clear whether you thought you'd see it. And I wonder if you could describe the first time you saw it.
Yeah, I didn't think that I was going to see it. I think a documentary typically takes a couple of years, at least, to be made, and these folks finished it in a year. And we had no idea that they were close to finishing it, and then they came to us and they said, it's done. We thought we had another year to spend with them. And that was, so it was happy and sad at the same time, because we loved our time with them so much. They became very close friends who we just hold so dear to our heart. Watching it for the first time, we watched it in this room, and I basically paced the room with my ears plugged half the time. I had no idea how to take it in. When you're watching yourself on screen, you're like, I finished watching it and I thought, is that good? Like, I can't tell if it's good. I have no idea. Is that going to reach people? Because it wasn't until we saw the film at Sundance and we watched it in a room full of other people, and then we got to feel the film together, that I knew what the film was, but I really couldn't feel what it was until I felt it sitting beside strangers who were not strangers by the time the film was over. But how was it for you?
You know, Ryan had told us on the first day of filming, essentially, don't worry, we're going to shoot a ton of footage and only 1% of what we film will end up being in the documentary. So we had no idea when we watched it the first time what we were going to see. And Andrea is right, when they told us the film was finished, they told us by saying it got into Sundance, which was both exciting and so devastating, because we just wanted to film with them forever. Like, I think, you know, we were happy, and also we're like, but you need to come back to our house and stay for 3 days every 3 weeks, right? You're not. And I think for me, one thing I appreciated about the film instantly was I couldn't, when I watched it, I couldn't really, it's very hard to be objective or subjective. It's very hard to know if it's good when you're watching yourself.
Meg isn't good with big words.
Yeah, sorry. But what I felt so strongly was they've captured Andrea so well. And then, and I told Andrea that, and Andrea said, oh, what I felt was they captured you so well. And I think that was how we knew that just something magical had been made. Because, I mean, the side of Andrea that you see in this film is not one that's always so public facing. Like, you get to learn that this, you know, genius wise poet is this big, massive goofball.
Total goofball.
And I was really glad that we got to share that part of us with you.
In the middle, right there. Yeah. Megan, your mom says she loves you.
Both of Megan's parents are here.
Right in the middle.
If they want to stand up.
What you have to know is that my mom drove up from New York. My father flew in from Florida. My parents are divorced, and they're both here sitting next to each other, which is so queer. My ex-boyfriend from college 16 years ago is in the audience.
Where's he?
Where, ex-boyfriend?
Show yourself.
Stand up.
He's more shy.
He's shy, Megan. Also, I think we have some of Tig's family in the audience as well. Is that right?
Fam.
Somewhere up there. I think Tig's brother is in the audience.
I did not know there were going to be so many surprises today. I had no clue about any of this. I guess, you know what, a question is, how are you today? What brings you joy today? What is right now like for each of you?
So let's see. Yesterday I was supposed to have a chemo infusion, and I woke up in the morning in too much pain to go. I've been in sort of chronic pain for about 5 months now. And I would say that these last 5 months have been the hardest time that we have gone through in this whole journey. And today I was writing about it. I don't even know I told you I wrote a poem today.
What?
Yeah, I know.
When?
I'm really happy. So that's part of it, is that, you know, my mother told me recently that expression is the opposite of depression, or is the cure for depression. And so I typically write from the other side of suffering, if that makes sense. Like I write from the lesson. And today I started writing from the center of the pain. And it was wild what happened, because as I was writing, I realized that my own pain was a sort of a web connecting to everybody's pain in the world. And in the process of writing the poem, I felt sort of a grief as a portal of connection. And I've spent the rest of the day just having this overwhelming, like, and not that I cherish my pain or that I want anybody to keep theirs, but I could feel the togetherness of it. I could feel this thing I learned years ago, that loneliness resonates in the same part of the brain as physical pain. And to know that we are not alone in what we're experiencing, like you on stage talking about going through grief this year. There is something about that is as heartbreaking as it is, just even to hear you speak from my heart, to know that there is a connective fiber here. That is everything. That is everything. And I think that was the first thing I figured out at the beginning of my diagnosis, was that love was everything. And I don't know if anything else exists. And I think of love and truth as the exact same thing. And I don't know if I'm answering your question at all, but I thought of the poem. I think the poem saved me today. What about for you?
I'm going to leave it with that. That was
Okay.
pretty good. My answer is like, our dogs.
I really enjoyed their costumes.
The dogs do.
Specifically in the film. There was a cow costume. There were many dog costumes in this movie.
That's not her costume. That's a very serious outfit.
Oh my God.
I won't tell her you said that.
You know what? With a documentary, there's always stuff left on the cutting room floor. And I'm wondering if there is something either of you remember that didn't make it into the film that you're happy about.
No, I'm devastated about something that didn't end up in the film. So, what, Abby? Oh yeah, Abby Wambach trying to teach us how to surf and basically almost killing both of us. But the scene that I think of is the eggs. Like, I woke up one morning and I take I have to say medical marijuana. I don't know.
Gotta qualify it.
I have to qualify it to sleep at night. But I woke up in the morning and we were headed out on a flight the next morning, and I was still high, unfortunately. And I don't know how to function in daily life high. So there was this scene, Brandon, the filmmaker, what is he called?
The director of photography.
Okay. Yeah, he was filming, and he's filming me make eggs, and I'm so high that I drop an egg and it cracks on the floor. And then I cannot stop laughing. And then I'm like, okay, I'll get it together. And then I'm about to make it, and the second one crashes on the floor, and it cracks on the floor. And I'm sitting there, and I say, "This is your brain on drugs." A commercial from the 80s. And I was like, that is the best. I cannot wait to see that part in the film. Ryan, you failed us there, bud.
Boo, everybody boo Ryan.
What about for you? What part did you think? Or you wish didn't make it in?
Well, no, nothing I wish. The Abby teaching us to surf was pretty epic. And by surf, you know what? I'd like you all to picture that we stood up and we rode waves, and I'm going to leave it at that. But I will say, Andrea, after we watched the film for the first time, Andrea had asked me, like, I think you were a bit confused of, like, I thought that, you know, my wisdom would come out and the things that I've spoken about, like on podcasts and in interviews would be part of it. And I think you expected more of a interview style explaining the deep stuff. And
I expected to be very deep and not goofy at all. I did not expect a funny film. I did not expect the me that only my 4 best friends have ever seen would be on a screen, but it was.
What I said was, I actually think that Ryan and everyone involved in the making of the movie captured was showing the wisdom, like showing the wisdom through the moments where we get hard news and then we're dancing, or we're expecting hard news and then distracted by the beautiful birds or whatnot. Rather than speaking to it, film offered a different vehicle for expression that words maybe sometimes fall short with. And I love that we were able to all create this together.
Because I had been speaking about it for a couple of years. Like I kept going online and writing and speaking about the joy I was experiencing and hoping that, it would be contagious in a way. And I think that even some of our closest friends who weren't spending time with us, they couldn't imagine it. They had a hard time believing the experiences that we were having. And I think the film, they just came into our house and then there it was.
How did you feel about the scene where you guys said fingering like 8 times?
Well, we can't decide what scene is funnier, that one or the octopoidal scene. I think it's a real toss-up. I love that scene. Our friend Steph Willen, who's the one talking about the thumbing, is the producer, is the one who came up with the idea, and so who had been seeing Andrea and I throughout this experience and thought, there should be a documentary about these two, and who brought it to take. What is awesome about that scene is that was actually recorded the first night.
Seriously?
So I think sometimes people think that there was maybe a level of intimacy that we had to work up to, but no, that was just dinner the first night of meeting these people.
Ryan, do you want to talk about that?
It never happens. They're total unicorn, weirdo documentary subjects that on the first night you get something that special. Usually it's months of warm-up for someone to become comfortable on camera. And so, that story I was telling during the intro about meeting them on the sidewalk that day, and Andrea saying, "You're going to be with me when I'm die. Welcome to my home." 4 hours later was the fingering, thumbing scene.
There's a line that Andrea, you say, "I always thought when I was young dying would be easier if everyone died at the same time." And you're a poet. You speak poetry endlessly. Both of you do. And And I wonder if you could reflect on that now more, because it just stopped me.
Yeah. And when by younger, I mean my 30s. I just thought I'm someone, I haven't lost a lot of people in this life. And I think I've lost fewer people than almost anybody I know. And then in the few people that I did lose, I just thought, why can't we just all go at the same time? But I sense, I feel very different now because there is something about taking turns, and something about it's one thing that we all share. And I don't want to shy away from, just the raw truth of it and how it sort of just pummels you into the heart of love. And how, right when they told me I had ovarian cancer, I remember just like my jaw dropping at this world. And I suddenly knew I was going to die. And I could not believe I had spent my life not knowing I was going to die. And I suddenly could look at everyone in my life and see that they were going to die. And there's something about this that's magic, as painful as it is. It's the magic of life. It's the brevity of it. I don't even know how to put words to it, but I can almost feel, I can't say for sure that I'm going to die before Meg, but I can almost feel the person that she will be. And I don't know what to say. Do you have anything to say about the beautiful line that I wrote?
This is so strange, and I'm going to bring it back to dogs, but I remember one of the most comforting things somebody said to me when I had to put my dog down a few years back was, it's such a gift that you've given and she's given you, my Chihuahua, to be able to walk her through that. And I think that's sort of what you're speaking to here, like we walk each other through this.
I used to have such a fear of my oldest dog, Squash, dying. I thought, I will never survive that. And now, like, one of my biggest dreams, is to live long enough to hold her while she dies, to just be able to be with her. And never in my life before would I have longed for that, to be there with somebody, dog or a person.
I don't always run out of questions. I did run out of questions. Do you have a question for them? Repeat that.
The question, I heard it. The question was, have you turned 50 yet, and will you have a crazy party?
Good one.
If you haven't turned 50 yet.
I haven't turned 50 yet. I turned 50 in August, and I'll have a crazy party. And everyone from Boston is invited. Just so you all know, Boston has been my favorite place to perform for years and years and years, and I haven't been able to perform much recently, but just love to all of you. Probably not every one of you have come to a show of mine, but to everyone who has, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This was one of the greatest honors, honestly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks to
Thank you
Andrea and
all.
Megan. Thank you so much for being part of the festival. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Chrisella. Thanks to all of you for coming out. We hope to see you throughout the week.